My opinion, I do not believe that what you hear on this podcast is actually what Megan is talking about. She is talking about something completely different. So let's get after it. Hello YouTubers, welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to have you guys here today with me. We always have something going on, don't we? There's always something happening in the news with this couple. And yet again, we find ourselves talking about another topic to be relevant. So let's get on with this relevance today. So in this podcast where they're talking about mental health, they're speaking with high school students, just in general around mental therapy and help and just trying to navigate that space for your mind. Yes, I don't want this to be anything negative towards the young teenagers that had Megan and Harry, or Harry and Megan, as guests for their podcast. I'm sure they were very thrilled to get this invitation, to get this opportunity to speak with them, because they're like, y'all on the news and y'all want to talk with us? Like, why y'all want to talk with us? Like, okay, we'll talk. And it's like, they're taking an opportunity that is going to be very memorable for them. So what we're here to do, and what I'm here to do in this space right here, is to talk about the back end of this. Like, why are they looking to speak to these young teenagers about mental health? What does this all mean? And give my opinion about it. And it's in no way to be negative towards the young kids and the topic of mental health. I think that is something that is very serious, and it should be something that people do look after and take care of. I speak about this couple in relation to the news that they make, and what does that news say about them? What is it that we can learn from this couple and their interactions with all these spaces and places in which they try to be relevant? And you'll find a very interesting story around their news that you really don't read. But if you look a little closer, you can kind of understand the story, the news, the information behind this couple and what it is that they're trying to do. And what they're trying to do is not necessarily what it is that they're actually doing. They're not really there to speak about mental health. And this is all my opinion. My opinion, okay? They're here because of what I said before, to be relevant, to have some kind of platform to make themselves visible to the public, to get people to buy in to their nonsense, to listen to them, to have an audience, because Megan needs this to find herself relevant. Harry's tagging along because he does what she says, and what Megan wants, Megan gets. So we know he's just a handbag. But when we look at what is actually happening in this podcast, what they're actually doing in this moment right now, they're taking advantage of an opportunity to up their platform, to really make themselves more seem like they're making an impact in the space of the United States of America, and what it is that they can actually bring to this global platform of this Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Now, I want to be very careful with how I choose my words, how I speak about this, because I don't want this to come across as something that is negative to the work that these teenagers are doing. I think it's very admirable. I think it's great that teenagers talk about this, because they need to. And mental illness and mental health is a very important thing that needs to be addressed. The problem is it doesn't need to be these two. We don't need to have Megan putting her foot into this mess of platform finding performance that she's found herself in yet again, because she's performing. She's given herself an opportunity to make herself feel relevant and to feel like she's important and to talk and to hear her voice and yes and oh and our space and I think we need to talk about this and blah 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 and yeah yes and what do you think? Yes. Well, what about you? And blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like she's fueled off of this energy of having this ability to speak about this topic, which could essentially be anything. It really could be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be talking about mental illness. And why are they calling themselves the Duke and Duchess of Sussex? Like, why are they introducing themselves as that? They seriously do not have a platform as a Duke and Duchess that is relevant in the space where that originated, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Like, there's a place called Sussex in England that they have not even been to, as far as I know. Maybe they have, maybe one time. But there's no relevance of them even having this name attached to them. For what? So it's trying to, just by the introduction of them being on this podcast and them being called the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, is just giving them an ideology of something that they're not even willing to own up to and honor themselves. So why are they even using it? Why not just be there speaking with these teenagers and Harry and Meghan, the former Duke and Duchess of Sussex? Like, we used to be that, but now we're this because we just got rid of that whole title thing. So we can see that this title is very important to them. Having this title is helping Meghan be able to up her importance level of, yes, I'm on the top of this ladder and I'm climbing it. I'm here right now and I'm so important and that's my title, and hear me speak, teenagers. You see, there's a lot going on with that. So if she were a really humble, authentic person who sincerely cared about this mental health issue, she would have came in her authentic self and left that whole title thing back in England. But it has meaning to her, to what she's trying to do with her platform and her brand. So she's got to tag it along and say, use this. This is our title. When you introduce us, use this. Because she wants to attach that to her to feel important. And it's all about her, this podcast. Her speaking on behalf of the monarchy, so to speak, I guess, because she's still using the title, whatever. So there's a lot going on, and I'm going to try not to ramble too much. They said a lot of things that I can just smack down right now. We know that Harry did talk about mental health before Meghan became a part of his sidekick thing. When he was with William and Catherine, they talked about this. And to me, that seemed very sincere and authentic. And I do think that Harry feels genuine about what they're doing in this podcast and speaking about it. He's there because this is something that he's done in the past. And I know that he has struggled with mental health issues, and he still does. And he's definitely going to be affected by his wife, and he needs to address his mental issues because they're very relevant for him in this moment in time for him. So, but on the other hand, you know, where has Meghan been around mental health and issues? She's always looking for a source to be relevant. And this is why listening to her speak on behalf of this issue, to me, is so yucky and so disgusting, because we know it's not her true self here in this platform and space. And this is how you know. When they first started talking in the podcast, they started talking about negativity and things. And what does she do? She brings in issues around her from the very moment of starting to speak about this topic. It's all about her and her being able to address the issues that she's been plagued with personally from being in the spotlight in the media. So it wasn't really about the issue of mental health and illness in general that she came to speak about, she's trying to talk to people who were giving her a hard time. She was trying to bring things, trying to clean up the record, so to speak, that she created when she started making headlines back when she was living in the UK. So we know this is called teenage therapy. So what does Megan do? The young gentleman is saying that this is a really hard time because as teenagers, we're isolated from our friends. And we know when you're a teenager, your friends are everything. Your friends are like the place, the refuge that you go to because you don't want to be with your family. You like, I'm grown, or I can go out and hang with my friends. I don't have to stay here with my mama and my papa because they get on my nerves. I'm going to hang out with my friends. So the friend component is very important. And this is called the teenage therapy. But what does Megan do? She says, well, not just for anyone. I mean, not just for young people, but for anyone. Because she's trying to bring it back to her. And then she goes on about how mental health can be affected when you're anyone, not just teenagers. But keep in mind, we're talking about teenagers. This is teenage therapy. Okay, but she's bringing it back to her. So she's trying to make it so that let's talk about the issues that I'm going through as a 30-something-year-old woman. Because this is all about me, y'all. I'm here to talk on this podcast because I want to let the record be known because I know what I say is going to make the news. So listen to me right now, what I'm getting ready to say, because I'm really speaking to y'all folks out there. So what does she do? She goes on and says, I know in 2019, I was the most trolled person in 2019. Well, excuse me, Miss Megan, but I would say you are in a special demographic of a person who's created a lot of drama where, yeah, you're going to be trolled because you opening your mouth to talk about any and everything that you should not be talking about. And you're being trolled, she says, because, you know, for things that just are not true. Excuse me, they are true. That's just not even true what you're saying. People are talking about you. They're trolling you because you got your foot in everything that you want to talk about. And you shouldn't be talking about anything. So yes. So she's bringing it once again back to her about being trolled in the media. I was the most trolled person in 2019. And the kids are probably like, okay, yeah, and why are you telling us that? Address what the teenage young man just said about being in a space mentally when you don't have your friends because of COVID. She couldn't just address that. So this is how you really know what this is all about. And this is why I speak about it, because there's things that you can see in the things that Megan is doing that most people are just probably just not going to pick up on. They're just probably like, oh, look at that Duchess of Sussex. She speaking to those teenagers over there. Look what she got to say. Yeah, oh, and that's so nice. She talking to those teenagers. No, we looking a little bit deeper into this because there's a little bit more going on. Like, we got to look past the camera like, oh, that's why. That's what she's saying. You can't imagine what this was like because look, I'm the Duchess of Sussex. Y'all don't have people trolling y'all like I do. You can't imagine what this is like for me. Right? So she's like going on and saying that, you know, I am really suffering from the bad people in this online space that we're dealing with. They are doing mean things to me and I'm just trying to be a good person in the world. She's not getting it. She's not getting it. They're not talking about your special situation that you have put yourself in for reasons that we all know are financial. But you're in this situation being trolled because you don't tell the truth about real situations that you've created, that you've manufactured about your own behavior, how you treat people, and the fact that you wanted to be this global person. You know, like there's all these things that she's done, but she's trying to make those people out there the bad guys. The bad guys is sitting in that chair right there. The girl speaking right there is the person that needs to be addressing her own actions. It's not about people trolling her. So like she tried to turn it back around. So what you guys are doing is so important. But I first had to say what's happening to me, right? So it's good that you guys are speaking about this. But it's just so bad, all the negativity that is going on in this world. And although it is unique to who we are, it's still not good. We're all human. And it's not good, it's bad. Well, we know that Megan should not be listening to those things. That she says she doesn't go on Twitter. She doesn't listen to the noise. Didn't she say that? So how much listening is she actually doing if she's so affected by it? She's doing a lot of listening. So Harry's going in and talking about how we all need to talk. We all have vulnerabilities. We all have issues that we're dealing with. We have to be able to get out and speak about it and talk about it. Megan, on the other hand, is just thinking about all the people that said bad things to her. Why y'all talking bad about me? I'm a good person. You know, who is she going to talk to? She's not going to talk to anybody because she ghosts people. She markles people. She doesn't want anything to do with people. So, and I'll talk, that'll come up a little bit more later. But, you know, Harry is circling this back around to, you know, we all have issues. We all have problems. We just need to be able to talk about it. Okay? So I think that's a good thing. That's very good.
But if you're a young girl or a young boy at school and you're that's your world. Mm-hmm. So if you're being...
And that's good. And I think that's good that Harry addressed it like that for young people. This is about the young people who are affected by mental illness or they're having issues with their mental health because of this. It's about how do young people navigate through this. This is not a time for you to talk to people on this platform about your own personal narcissistic issues that you're having, Miss Meghan Markle.
We will all find there's certain things that work for us. For me, I think journaling is a really powerful thing. And it's
so Megan's talking about, so what she does is she journals. She looks about it so that it helps her understand where she comes from. She ain't looking at where she came from. And she ain't thinking about nothing about where she came from. She then goes to the whole family. So, you know, of course, we don't all know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know if Megan has since connected with her family. But what we do know is how she has perceived or how she's portrayed herself to the world in terms of her family by the things that she hasn't done for the world to see. And it's very important that if she is speaking with her family or if she has addressed those issues, she make it public because she is a public person. And as far as the public is concerned, she has nothing to do with her family. So moving forward, if everything that I'm saying is not true, then she has the responsibility to make that known to people who watch her and follow her, because our perceptions of her have been created because of how she's behaved, how she's treated people that are her family. So as far as we're concerned, she does not think about where she's come from. And if she is thinking about where she's come from, it's in the perspective of, I don't want nothing to do with that no more. I'm done with that part of my life. Like, you know, journaling in her book, you know, this is where I came from. All my family did, blah, blah. I didn't have this, but finally I met a prince and finally I can do all these wonderful things and I'm doing them and I did this. And then she can just go off and do all these wonderful things. But there's no real self-reflection about where she actually came from that's actually relevant to what she's doing now. That stuff is in the past and she don't want nothing to do with it.
when you have some perspective that is only visible when you have people to check you with that, right? Be it something that you've written down or your friends to remind you, like, no, remember when that happened? I think that's really valuable so that everything doesn't become insurmountable, so that there's always a way to overcome something.
But we all have...
So is Megan talking about, when she talks about there's ways to overcome something, and she's trying to overcome what she's got herself into now with this platform of global notoriety, like having your friends check you. Like, who's gonna check you? Like, nobody checks her because they're gonna get fired or ghosted. Like, she don't allow people to check her, right? So she's not even real authentic to herself because she doesn't want to hear the things that people are probably saying about her, because she's had a really high turnover rate of the people that work for her. There's a lot of family that she doesn't even speak to. We only know that she speaks to her mother. I mean, she is a global person now. She is worldwide known. And what we know from her is that she only speaks to this one family member, this one person. So when you say allow yourself to be checked, that's not true. And if it is, it's in the way that you see things happening and you're like, oh, that wasn't good, was it? Like you getting checked on in retrospect, like, oh, that wasn't good. Like you self-checking yourself. But ain't nobody out there checking her, because we know that these two get a lot of negativity from Harry's family now because of what's been going on with his brother and the other family members, the way Meghan has behaved towards her family. There's a lot of negativity that they get checked on in the media because of how they've behaved. So they're essentially just talking about how mean people are to us in the online world. This is all coming back to about them. These teenagers don't have a global platform. So they're not relating to anything that she's saying. They're just like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess if I had the whole world speaking mean about me, I'd be real depressed. So how is it that these teenagers really can relate to what Meghan is saying? Because she's talking about people on a global stage bullying you. And they're talking about just being isolated because of COVID. You can't go see your friends. You don't have that connection with them all the time. So they're like kind of speaking past each other, or she's speaking past what the kids are. I shouldn't say kids, they're adults, they're teenagers, well, they're young adults, speaking about their issues of isolation. And she's talking about people being mean to me on the internet. Yeah, because of the choices you've made as a grown woman trying to be greedy and to rule the world. That's what happens when you try to rule the world.
To very much focus on the uplifting and the hopeful side, which most of it I get from your generation as well, which is even greater. But you know, for me, meditation.
Make us laugh. I'm sorry. I don't want to look like I'm beating up on people or her, but it just oozes like. Ugh. It just oozes like, ugh, like that's what? Stop. Now, I would have had a lot more respect for Meghan had she talked about, you know, being accountable for your own actions. When you do something that you know is not right and then people check you, like, why wouldn't she say, but at the same time, you know, we do have to be, you know, accountable for our own actions. We do have to understand that sometimes bullying is not bullying, but it's people looking out for you, and it could seem like bullying. It could seem like people are being mean to you. But I think in the situation with Harry and Meghan, people are telling them about their behavior and how they are doing things that are not okay. And they're looking at it like, you guys, people are beating up on us. People are bullying us. People are saying things about us that are not true. But what I see is I see people trying to show them, you got to check your behavior. And there is a clear difference between somebody bullying you and someone telling you, no, that's a lie.
Fooling us into believing that suppressing it is the way to go instead of openly showing it, and that suppressing is bravery.
So here I thought it was really good. The gentleman said, as men, we're not supposed to show our feelings. And he even went back to reference when Harry spoke about his mental health a few years back, and I'm imagining that was when he did that with his brother and Catherine. But Harry didn't even address that. He's going back, well, what I said before, you know, there's a lot of negativity out there and a lot of bad things. He doesn't really address the question that he was asked. So they're still thinking about how people are beating up on them. That's where their headspace is right now. They only want to talk about how mean people are online behind their usernames, and they're not, you know, saying stuff to us that they would say to us if we were right in front of their face. I feel like they're trying to use this platform to just talk about how people are treating them online rather than mental health in general. It seems like that is where they're steering this conversation to. It's not really them talking about all the different things that contribute to people having issues with mental health, whether it be a sickness, or it's because of COVID, or it's because of issues with your family where you don't talk to them no more, and you miss them and then you like, oh, I miss my family. Or you're having issues with depression because of a chemical imbalance, or a recent death in the family. They're honing in on this online platform like this is what mental illness is. It's all about people speaking badly about you online behind a username. That's where this is steering towards. And now Megan is getting ready to start talking about why not turn off the notifications? Why not just find the happy news and not put yourself down a rabbit hole and hear all the things that people are saying negatively about you? Why not try to create a way of being online where you only see happy things? Well, sure, you can do that. People, I'm sure, do that. But because you are on a global platform, Miss Meghan Markle, you are always in the news. Always somewhere people talking about you. So wherever you turn down any rabbit hole, you're going to see something about you because you are creating so much bad news around yourself, whether it is the lawsuit, it is the voting, or you trying to be in some news story, or maybe someone from your family comes out and checks you, which we haven't heard from them in a while, but we want to, or a book that you say you didn't have anything to do with. You're creating all of this negative stuff. So of course you're going to always, wherever you turn, you're going to see stuff all the time because you're doing it. You're creating it.
Instead saying, no, I was just coming on here looking for something really positive. I just wanted to see what my friends were up to.
You want to just see what your friends were up to. Well, what about your family? Why don't you call and see how your father is doing, Mr. Markle? Harry, call and see how the Queen is doing. How about your grandfather, Philip? You know, that 90-some-year-old man, almost 100. Why don't you call him, see how he's doing? You want to talk about some good news. You don't have a good story of good news that you can even suggest that you've done because you're not doing it. You know, it's like, for real, you're going to sit here, you're going to say that. How about just calling and see how your friends are doing? Now, you know she didn't say family. Because she don't call her family. She don't care how they doing. She don't care that they're suffering, that her father is being tormented mentally because she won't contact him. You think she cares to see how anyone is doing? This is all word salad. This is all her talking because she knows people want to hear it. And she's just saying what people want to hear because she wants to elevate her platform. She likes listening to what she's got to say. And she likes feeling important. They're not trying to fool nobody. I get you. I know what you about. And I'm getting quite upset about it because it's wrong. Because I think it's important to become your authentic self when you choose to speak to people and you want to try to help them. You got to come sincere in what it is that you are doing. And she's not stepping up to the platform that is showing that she is being her authentic self. She is there perpetrating. She is perpetrating, y'all. And I see it.
As of the last 4 years, I guess, I check with my friends and I go back to them and say, no. When I say, how are you? How are you? Because everyone.
And so think about this, you guys. Think about how important Harry's friends are to him and how his wife has essentially gotten rid of his friends and how she has made it so that these friends have minimal impact on him in his life because she's trying to isolate him from his friends. But his friends are very important to him. But she don't like his friends. This is how you know she's not really there for him and his mental illness because she should see the value of his friends, having someone to talk to. Harry's in a completely foreign environment right now. He is away from all of his friends and his family. He, if anybody, is going to be suffering from mental illness. Big time.
Because what's happening in your head and your spirit and your body is all the same. It's all connected. And you would comfortably have a conversation about someone's health. So maybe we just expand that. Talk about your emotional health. Talk about your holistic health.
Do you think Meghan cares about the emotional health and well-being of her father, who is currently living in Mexico on a fixed income, isolated from his daughter, whom we know he's loved and taken care of his whole life? Do you think he's suffering from mental illness? Do you think he is in a position right now where he's being emotionally tortured? Seeing her in the news all the time, knowing that that's his daughter, and how she treats him, and how maybe people of the world look at him, how he's probably perceived as this, you know, bad image or bad person who's done bad things to Meghan. Do you think she cares about his mental health? Does she really care about mental health right now, you guys? Really ask yourself that question. Is she really walking the walk that she's talking right now? I don't think so. I really, really do not think so. Do you think she talks to her father? Do you think Meghan really talks about it? Does she really authentically talk about what she has done and how it has affected her life? No. She's going to talk about how those people, the people out there, how they treat her. Keep in mind that she wanted this life. She made a choice to have a life in front of the cameras. She made a choice to have a life that was global in nature, that was world famous. She wants to dominate the world. She wants to break the internet. She wants to be president of the United States.
So between every official engagement, I was running back to make sure our son was fed. And
okay, now give me a break. Give me a break. Are you serious? It's so thick, y'all. It's so thick. I've got a $12,000 dress on. I'm tired. Because you perpetrating right now, you are trying to portray something that is complete malarkey.
people haven't really asked me if I'm okay. I didn't think about that answer. I just answered honestly because I was...
Yeah, she didn't have time to make up something. She just answered at that moment, honestly. Because all the other times she don't.
Today I'm doing really well.
All
Thank
right.
you for asking.
Have you been doing good the past few months? I know it's been tough. And
Well, she's doing good now because she's on her way to world dominance. She's got rid of that royal family, those people that gave her all those rules. Yeah, she's doing real good now because she ain't got no rules. She's got to change people's perception of her. She's got to make people see that she's a good person. That's why the book came out that she said she didn't have nothing to do with. This is why she's trying to talk about, you know, them being bullied on this platform right now and trying to go out and give food to the homeless. Like, she's trying to change the narrative because she's got world domination. You guys have got to start liking her. Okay, she just explained to you what happened during the South Africa tour, where, you know, everybody got on her about saying, you know, when no one's asked if I'm okay. She just told us how she felt, so y'all should like her now. Okay, so really understand what is happening here. How she's trying to manipulate everybody.
Prioritize our emotional well-being, because if you're not doing it for yourself, and there's a high chance that you're probably affecting those that you love the most. And that's a really important...
Yeah, they're being affected. The ones that Harry loves the most are being affected by the choices that they're making right now around mental health. And we also know mental health is not taking a priority to this couple, because if it was, Meghan would have her butt back over in the UK right now dealing with the situation that she committed to. And Harry would be amongst his family and friends, and maybe they wouldn't be in the royal family anymore. Maybe they'd be doing something different, but at least they wouldn't be in the situation where they have to now try to become relevant in the United States of America because of what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. So mental health is not taking a priority for them.
As I've always said to Meghan before we even met, I had this...
Now, how could he say something to Meghan before they even met? Well, if you ain't met her, how could you say it? Like, I was just thinking, did that make sense to y'all? Maybe it's me. I don't know, but I just thought that was interesting.
Before we even wrap up, I would love to know, since you very kindly asked me how I am doing, how are each of you in this?
So it was really important for Meghan to take that narrative and change it from her and Harry to talk about family and stuff and put it on the young people. So how are you guys doing? Yeah, we don't want you to talk about our family, but how y'all? Yeah, I thought that was interesting, but that's how I took it. Them having this podcast conversation, while it is important to talk about, and I think it's very good for young people to speak about mental health and to be able to talk to people when they're going through certain things. The only thing that I really heard from this conversation was about how people are mean to me on my global stage while I try to rule the world. Leave me alone. That's what I heard. And I think that if they're going to, and I'm sure it's filmed, I'm sure they're using this as part of their Netflix deal. They're probably going to use this as some documentary or something. I just have a hard time with someone using people to elevate themselves, knowing that you're not really there for the purpose that you're saying. And I don't think Megan is really here for the purpose that she is saying. While Harry may feel like he is, and bless him for thinking that he's really there to speak about mental illness and health, and I don't think his wife really cares about it. I think it's just something that give her to talk about in her word salad that she can speak about while she's trying to make her millions, her multi-millions, and to become the president of the United States. There's a lot more going on in this conversation for her than everybody else. And she ain't there really, I think, for mental illness. It's all about stop beating up on me. Because if there was any concern about mental illness and care, why are they not trying to reach out to Megan's father and try to mend fences, trying to mend bridges with the family that Megan grew up with? What is the reason? Why does she not speak to any of her family? Did everybody try to just do her wrong? What is going on with her? There's just some disingenuousness that I'm feeling that I wanted to speak about on this video. I hope it made sense to you. I'm not in any way lashing out on people in mental health and issues, because I have certainly dealt with issues myself. And I think it's important for people to speak about mental illness and to have those platforms and to seek help when you need it. But at the same time, I think it's another thing when you try to use mental health and illness to try to talk about it as a way to elevate your platform. I want to thank everyone who has paid for a cup of coffee for me. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, because we know we live in a world, not everybody is nice. And the one thing that Harry and Meghan can learn from all of this and what they're trying to do is that, of course, you're going to get people that are not going to like you. You're going to find yourself in certain situations that are going to be hard to deal with. But that's because you are on a platform where a lot of people know you. So you're going to get more pushback because more people know you. But you know it comes with the territory. So just deal with it and just try to be the best person you can be. And I really don't feel that mostly Megan is trying to do that. She is in a position with great privilege to be able to do great things. But it seems to me like she is wanting to divert all of the possibilities of good that she can do. She wants to make it about herself, and she wants to try to control the narrative about what people think about her, and she wants to complain about people being mean to her. It is what it is. But if you're really true with who you are and yourself, and you're really trying to be a good person, you're not going to have all of this backlash. But see, people can see through it. They can see you, girl, you ain't real. What's something wrong with you? Stop trying to always be relevant in all these different platforms and get down to just doing good in the world. Find that passion that is something that you feel authentic about, and just do that. But skipping and jumping around to all these different topics and things you can talk about, it just doesn't make you seem like you're really trying to make a difference that is authentic. It just seems like you're just trying to put your foot in this water and this water and that water. And I just think it's so unfortunate, because they have a platform that can bring so much good, but yet they're attracting all of this negativity. People can sense it because they can see how it's just not right. It's not right. It's something's wrong, false, fake about it. And that's why I think they, especially Megan more than anything, is getting all the backlash that she is getting. All the issues that are going on right now in the world. And they're trying to make the world a better place by taking their platform and putting it in California and just saying, okay, we just going to not like nobody we know, but we're going to try to help all these strangers. Some don't seem right about that to me. It just don't seem right. So I'm just going to keep talking about it. And I want to thank you guys for being a part of my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for those who bought me coffee. And if you want to buy me coffee, I'll leave all the information in the description below. And until next time, you guys, peace and love. I love you all. Bye-bye.